Once upon a time, in the land far removed from the world of humans, there existed a race known as the Iorphs. They were unique, humanoid beings who lived much longer than humans, weaving Hibio, a mystical cloth that chronicled the passage of time. These enigmatic beings were legendary to outsiders and were often referred to as the clan of the separated. Our tale revolves around a young Iorph girl named Maquia. She had no parents, no family, and her only guardian was the wise elder Racine. Racine, in her wisdom, warned Maquia against forming emotional attachments to outsiders. She believed that doing so would lead to a path of true loneliness. Little did Maquia know how profound these words would become. One fateful day, the neighboring kingdom of Mazarte launched a ruthless attack on the peaceful Iorph village. Their aim was to uncover the secret of the Iorph's longevity. Armed soldiers rode on the backs of dragon-like creatures called Renato, and chaos ensued. Lives were lost, and Maquia's friend, Lilia, was kidnapped. During the chaos, a Renato creature became tainted with the red-eye disease and went berserk. In its frenzied state, it accidentally carried Maquia away from her homeland, entangling her in the fabric of mystical cloth Hibio. The Renato met its tragic end in a distant forest, leaving Maquia stranded, alone, and tangled in a web of fate. She briefly thinks of jumping into a ravine when she hears the cry of a baby cradled in the arms of his lifeless mother. Barlow, a merchant who happened to be passing by, remarks that the boy's Hibio will end here. Refusing to let the child perish, Maquia decided to become his mother. She named him Ariel and embarked on a journey filled with unexpected twists. Maquia ends up at Helm Ranch and is found by Mito when she attempting to feed her new son from a goat. Mito takes the two under her wing, offering her home and her wisdom as Maquia raises her adopted son. As time flowed like a river, Ariel grew from infancy into childhood. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Mazarte, a shadow cast by fear loomed. The creature's Renato, once a symbol of power and prestige for the kingdom, began succumbing to the dreaded red-eye disease. The king, fearing a loss of power, sought a new source of influence for his kingdom: the longevity of the Iorphs. His desperate quest led to a plan to the forcing of Iorph blood into the royal lineage. Through a hidden message woven into a Hibio cloth, Maquia learned of Lilia's forced marriage to Prince Hazel of Mazarte. Determined to rescue her friend, Maquia set sail with Ariel, hoping to defy destiny. They arrived in the capital of Mazarte, a place of grandeur and secrets. In the bustling city, Maquia met an old friend, Krem, another one of her closest friends who is also aiming to free Lili. Together with comrades, they plotted to liberate Lili from the clutches of royalty. Their plan, however, are ultimately unsuccessful in their rescue attempt. Maquia barely evades capture with the help of Barlow, who reveals himself to be half Iorph. Maquia then decides to leave with Ariel after being abandoned by Krem and the other Iorph. Years passed. Maquia and Ariel settled in the iron-forged city of Doré. She worked as a waitress, while Ariel grew into a capable young man. Their once unbreakable bond began to strain under the weight of time's passage. Back in the Mazarte capital, Lili, alienated in the palace, distant from her own daughter, Medmol. She yearned to hold her child, but remained imprisoned by circumstance. One day, fate brought Ariel face to face with Lang, a soldier of Mazarte's army. Their reunion further distanced Ariel from Maquia, as he yearned to prove his worth in battle. The threads of their connection seemed to unravel further. When Ariel decides to become a soldier, he leaves his mother Maquia alone. Shortly after, Maquia is kidnapped by her fellow Krem. Then the day of reckoning arrived. Krem, in his relentless quest to rescue Lilia, rallied support from neighboring nations to overthrow the oppressive rule of Mazarte. Maquia, still captive, found herself amidst the chaos of revolution. Many years later, Ariel had returned to the capital, married Dita, and was expecting their first child. But the wheels of destiny turned once more. Ariel and Maquia's paths crossed during a moment of crisis. She tended to his wounds, and they shared a heartfelt conversation. In that touching moment, they bid each other farewell, realizing that their fates are different. In the palace, Krem's attempts to reunite with Lilia met a tragic end. The guards, loyal to the kingdom, silenced his voice forever. In the aftermath of the battle, the kingdom of Mazartes crumbled, and Ariel returned to his home to embrace his wife and his newborn daughter. As the winds of change swept through the land, Maquia seized her chance. She freed the last living Renato and embarked on a final journey with Lilia, who managed to share a fleeting moment with Medmo before they departed. Decades rolled by, and Maquia, now accompanied by the merchant Barlow, returned to Helm Ranch. There, she found Ariel in the end of his life, on his deathbed. She held his hand as he passed on. As she leaves, she apologizes for having to break her promise to never cry, as she breaks down in tears, recalling all of the moments she spent by Ariel's side. With her beloved son gone, Maquia continued her journey, traveling down the road of life. Despite the profound pain of loss, she carried with her the happiness of having been Ariel's mother.